All right.
Okay.
Perfect.
Hi, my name's Jason Brommet. I'm the Senior Product Manager for Microsoft Office here in Canada. And I actually have the pleasure this morning of being in Ottawa and just spent some time with some of our federal customers. And wanted to share a little bit about my thoughts around this release of technology being the 2010 release of Office and SharePoint and Project and Visio, and what I really see as the opportunities for our customers and what I'm personally excited about, but also hearing back from our customers have them really excited. I think the first thing is really thinking about it as a business productivity platform. One of the big conversations that I often encourage customers to think about is don't think about Office as a set of individual standalone applications. Think of them as the front end to those really important line of business systems. So whether that be an enterprise content management system, a collaboration system, business intelligence, or unified communications, the Office client software really helps deliver that experience to end users in a really easy and familiar interface. And then on the server side, obviously we've got great capabilities with Exchange and Office Communication Server and SharePoint that help enable all of those capabilities to come to life and serve those up through the Office client. And so with the 2010 release, we've got just an incredible lineup of features, enhancements, and new capabilities in the product. If I start to think of some of my favorites, think about Outlook. Everybody lives or dies in some cases by Outlook. And some of the work we've done around conversation management and being able to ignore threads or be able to do conversation cleanup. But also the ability to do using the Outlook social connector and start to bring in some of the social capabilities. Not just from SharePoint, but now also being able to reach out into those third-party services like LinkedIn as an example, or MySpace. And so as we start to think about organizations and trying to support the new millennials that are coming into their organization and bringing with them all kinds of interesting social tools, you now have an integrated experience inside Outlook, and so you never need to leave your inbox to be able to go and do that. I also think about voicemail and unified communications as being another great enhancement that we've made. I often use the example and ask people, how many of you actually know how to forward a voicemail out of your traditional phone? Most people don't. And so now with Unified Communications and Exchange 2010, one, I can look at a transcription of that speech message that I have in my inbox, but with a simple forward that everybody knows how to do in email, I can forward that message, whether it be to an admin or whether it be to a coworker around the corner or around the globe. And so very quickly and easily being able to manage those communications. I think about the collaboration side of it, and the Office web applications is probably one of the most exciting enhancements that we've made in 2010. And we really see those as lightweight companions to the Office desktop software, specifically Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. And so now I can access those same capabilities and do lightweight editing through the browser. And so I no longer necessarily need to open Office on my machine. I can actually do some of those lightweight features in a browser. And so when I'm on the road and need to access content, I can log in through an internet cafe or an internet station in a hotel and be able to do those lightweight changes that I may have people in the office back home waiting for. I also think about co-authoring, and so today workflow or collaboration has a tendency to be linear. I might start to author the document, I'll send that on to somebody else, they'll check it out, they'll make their changes, check it back in. With Office 2010 and SharePoint 2010, you now have the ability to have multiple people in a document at a single point in time. And so rather than this linear workflow where you might have an individual in the document each for an hour at a time, you can actually have all three people in the document at a single point in time, and so you can probably get that work done in about 30 minutes. And then using some of the unified communications features, you've actually got presence inside that document, and so I know that they're online, and so if I have a quick question, I can very quickly and easily launch an instant messaging conversation directly inside that document that I'm working on, get the answer, make the changes, and be on my way. And so again, as we think about all these things adding up and taking minutes out of days that then start to add up to hours, and then start to add up to days and then to weeks, and it all becomes about making people more efficient and more productive.
So who in the federal government should be thinking about 2010? Is it just the IT department?
No, everybody should. We've been spending lots of time over the last few months leading up to launch with customers across the country, both in private and public sector. And some of the most exciting work we've actually seen is coming out of the public sector. And it's actually being driven by and large by the business, with needs for people to better collaborate with one another, be able to better connect. I talked about the social component inside Outlook, but the social aspects inside SharePoint. And it's not just about documents or content that people author, it's what's their experiences and what's their expertise and what's their specialties. And so to be able to find people very quickly and easily in SharePoint, I can do a people search and go and find somebody that's around the corner or around the globe, have a picture of them, understand where they sit in the organizational hierarchy, but at the same time be able to use their tags and what they're potentially posting to blogs and wikis to understand what's got them really excited. And so when I think about the public sector and certainly the federal group here in Ottawa, there's a tremendous amount of opportunity to think about. we think about citizenship, and we think about delivering on green, and we think about traveling and saving on cost. And obviously today, the public sector is under tremendous pressure from the taxpayers to make sure that they're managing that money very carefully. And so as you start to think of a lot of these capabilities, there's literally opportunities to take millions and millions of dollars out of public sector operations. And that doesn't need to be a business decision or an IT decision alone. There's great opportunity on both sides or in partnership with one another.
You mentioned delivering value to citizens, and that's clearly very important. Some departments are thinking about using some of the free tools or some of the share tools to try and deliver on some of these features. Why should they look at that versus SharePoint 2010?
So I think that's a great question. It's one that I get all the time on, hey, how does it all stack up? I think there's a couple of things that come to mind. One is spend the time and really understand the capabilities and the needs that you need to deliver to the citizens or your internal constituents. I'm not going to sit and knock any of the competitors, but when you really start to lift up the covers and start to look at those core capabilities, they aren't things that they do incredibly well. There are certain companies out there that will remain unnamed. They're an ad company at the end of the day. Delivering business services is new for them. You think about Office 2010 and the experience it delivers across the PC, the phone, and the browser. There is no organization in the IT sector or the software sector that can do that and deliver it in the same familiar user interface that Office can, as an example. And SharePoint, there's so much opportunity with SharePoint. We think about it around communities and sites, and we think about it around content management, collaboration. The opportunities are really endless. And it's one single platform. And so for an organization, you don't need to go and think about, hey, I'm buying a whole bunch of different and disconnected systems that I now need to figure out how I connect together. I now have a single platform that I can start to look at, both from an internal perspective, but how do I expose those services externally, whether it be through an extranet or through a public-facing site.